Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined. I'm your host this week, Hassan, joined as always by Tristan.
Yes, that is I, Tristan.
And,
folks, the man behind the cartoon. This is me, the guy.
Yeah, so folks, this week it was supposed to be an extra special episode where we were actually intending to see the final conclusion to the Great Simpsons Rewatch. But we have some good news and bad news on this.
Oh, character growth.
So
wait,
the
hold
good
on.
news, folks,
I need just to quickly acknowledge your character growth is on.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Right,
so
yeah,
anyways, folks, the good news is this actually isn't the end of the Great Simpsons Rewatch.
What?
The reason for that
it definitely is.
The bad news is that someone involved in our podcast, accidents happen. We have a no blame culture on this podcast. We're not going to point fingers. We're not going to, name names.
Have
but
a no blame culture.
Someone on this podcast
yeah.
accidentally deleted all the past episodes of the Great Simpsons Rewatch.
No.
So Tristan has agreed to go back and restart all Simpsons from episode 1 all the way through to the current season.
No.
So we're redoing this all, folks.
No.
Yeah. No blame culture. We don't get stuck in the past. We're going to move forward. And we're just going to have to start things over.
I guess we will for the good of the show.
Yeah.
Why am I like this? Why?
I mean, Tristan, you get to rewatch all those episodes you loved, like when they do the 3 different stories thing, like the Paul Bunyan. one. Love that.
No, that's terrible.
Favorite.
No.
Okay,
Nah.
well, what about you love those clip episodes where they just remind you past...
No, hold on, no. Okay, just stop. Okay, if we need to, we're gonna speed run this if we have to. Okay. I will speed run this. I will turn this bus around and speed run.
No, we can't speed run. We're gotta do it the old way.
No. The audience isn't. I don't owe anybody anything.
You owe it to yourself, Tristan.
Ooh, fuck. I guess. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Restart The
Simpsons. Restart The Simpsons.
Now, because we're already here, so, for long-time listeners, we're going to talk about seasons 33, 34, and 35.
The final season that... no, it's not. Okay. As of this recording, we are in, not midway, but, quite a bit into season 36. Hey, you know what? Let's give a quick bonus little thing for season 36 so far. I would rank it so far 3.9 out of 10. So far, not very good. Yeah, the season finale, episode they started the season off with, their series finale. That was pretty good. Everything else has been pretty middling, including an episode that's all about I think the show is called White Lotus, that I've never seen before. And if you haven't watched White Lotus, you would not get a single fucking joke that is happening in the episode.
I haven't watched it either.
Why alienate your audience like that? So that's a fun little bonus one for season 36. Not very good so far. We're only 8 episodes in as of the time of this recording. Maybe I'll rotate it a little higher. Maybe I put it at 4.3, 4.5. Let's say. Still not very good.
Yeah.
Has not wowed me.
I'll guess. Season 33?
Yeah.
3.3.
No, son. No, again, because, okay. You forgot about the premise of this whole thing. It's based off of the fact that I watched that one Super Eye Patch Wolf episode about a year and a half ago and got influenced to do this. And if you recall, in that episode that he did about the Simpsons, the Simpsons is good again thing, the Simpsons is good again. Season 33, 6.09. Let's go. It's above a 5. Hey,
sure.
it's about a 5.
It's a passing grade. It's a very low passing grade, but it's a passing grade.
That's a D-, baby. Let's go.
Okay. Okay. Well, since we're doing 3, that means we're going to start with the worst episode.
Oh, we're doing this? Okay. There's yes, I guess so. We can do that. So let me just sit my worst. I have notes. Best. Yeah. So the worst episode of season 33. Holy crap, let's go. That'll be season 33, episode 11 with a 1 out of 10, The Longest Marge. It's bad.
Is it gonna be a Longest Yard parody?
It's got football in it, so yes, sort of.
Okay. I also say I don't know what The Longest Yard is about. I
it's a football
think
movie.
I've seen it.
It's a good football drama movie. It's a good, I like Longest Yard. It's classic. It's fun. It's not fun, I guess. I mean, fun's the wrong word for the Longest Yard. It is a good...
No, that's the Adam Sandler one, apparently.
It's not...
no, there's also a 1974 sports comedy. Okay.
Yeah,
with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, they're both fun. Honestly, I still don't think they're all that... They're comedies, yes, but it's about football in prison. It's kind of fucking bleak. It's not even that funny in both accounts. Yeah. But like they're both good movies, so I don't know. Anyway, Longest Marge is not a good episode. It is again a 1 out of 10. Marge and Mr. Burns essentially have kind of a custody battle over this like football player because Mr. Burns is using him to promote and sponsor his brandy brand, which was Mr. Gentleman Brandy, like one sip will do, but now he's like, hey, this is like a chugging brandy now. The whole thing with this brandy is to chug that shit back, and he gets basically Grayson Mathers is his name, to be the spokesperson for this whole thing, and he is just like this really bro-y, like lives, eats, drinks, and fucks football kind of guy. And Marge sees the goodness in Grayson because he's just never had a family, and then she raises him to kind of be a member of the Simpsons, sort of. And then it's basically Marge and Mr. Burns raising this guy as their own kid. It's... Man! Why?
So I read the premise of this, and I have to say, just at its core, it's kind of broken because nothing about a Mr. Burns and Marge episode sounds good or interesting. They just don't seem like two characters that go together well.
There is an excellent classic episode in the one where like Marge rediscovers her painting ability and Mr. Burns wants her to paint him in like a glorious grandstanding way, and she paints him in the nude, and it's like bony, very vulnerable, like Mr. Burns masculinity.
Vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and that one's really good because like there's a scene where she reveals the painting and it's just like gasps all across the crowd, and then he's like, I don't hate this, and it's just like this really interesting like conclusion to their relationship as two people. This is also like Homer trying to lose weight and all that stuff. It was a good classic episode. Yeah, so they have had relationships in the past between those two in past episodes, and they never turn out. They turn out interesting, but they never really turn out good. I think this. I don't know if they're trying to capture that old feeling. They definitely don't. This one is definitely like a played for laughs. Like we've discarded the past. Don't worry about it. Status quo is here to save us, and we're just gonna have them have a custody battle over this football player who's a grown ass adult. It's a whole thing. I don't know. It ain't good. It's not fun. I got real bored of it I'm on my rewatch because I rewatched the worst and best episodes before we record. I got so bored of this one I had to turn it off. I just like, oh, this is so, yeah. It's not even good bad. Like if it was a bad episode and was interestingly bad and had me like at least angry about it, that's something, right? But this is so bad, it's just dull. Like, what are you doing? How do you write a dull Simpsons episode, especially with this premise? There's a couple of of funny things. The chugging brandy idea is very funny, but everything else is just like, whatever. Who cares? This is just another dull, shitty episode where they had no real actual idea. Bad execution.
Okay, well, in that case, let's hear the best episode of this season.
I almost want to save this one for the last because this is an excellent episode. This is season 33, episode 12. So we're really after the worst episode of the season. It's season 33, episode 12, Pixelated and Afraid. Hassan, this is... I also didn't switch the scene over. Also look at that. I just realized I can do this.
Are you telling me, because I assume that title is a Naked and Afraid reference?
Yes, it is, yes. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, I have to look this up again. But Naked and Afraid is just a bad reality TV series,
that's the point,
right?
Yes,
there's no...
Yep.
There's no other deeper thing to that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Just don't worry about the actual...
Okay.
Don't worry about that part. It has relevance in the fact that that's kind of the plot of the episode. But what this is is what I consider the best, the quintessential Homer and Marge episode.
Okay.
This, in fact, Hassan, when I do the best of the best, I know I said that You Only Move Twice is my favorite episode of all time. This is going to be a fight. Because this episode fucking rocks. It's so goddamn good. It has no right to be this good for just being like a Naked and Afraid kind of parody. But like the reasoning behind it, the plot line behind it, like the emotion, the fucking emotions in this episode. Julie Kavner and Dan Castellaneta just act around each other, and it is a beautiful symphony. And the writing and the understanding of what a couple becomes when they've been together for so long, it is poetry. It's so fucking good. Like it's basic too. They get lost in the woods. They crash their car by accident off a mountainside, get lost in the woods, and they have to they end up with no clothes, so they need to like make new outfits and all this stuff. And they have to survive. That's all it is. But it's such a... They're using their knowledge that they have gained from watching shitty reality shows to kind of survive. But that's one thing. But what is actually happening is this beautiful harmony between these two people. Homer and Marge have been together at this point for 33 years. And it's about damn time that you see what that means. This episode, like I said, it's in the running for one of the greatest episodes of all time. If not the greatest, in my opinion.
It's just very hard to believe it's season 33.
I know. And that's what I said. Because here's the thing. I heard Pixelated and Afraid was really good. I heard really good. But nobody was saying, hey, this is fucking awesome. This is like one of the best ever. And I'm here to maybe be one of the first people to really say, this is probably one of the greatest episodes of The Simpsons of all time. Ever. It's not that funny. The jokes are okay. But the character writing and like the acting and the understanding of these characters, it's so just... God, they get you. It's so good.
Yeah,
This is my third time watching this episode, and it still gets me.
I have obviously not seen it. I think even if I had, knowing myself, I bet my feelings of it would be a little bit more frustration of, wow, this is really good. It's a shame I know that 2 episodes from now, it's just going to be something of like, oh no, Homer joins I don't even know, a after work clam eating group, and he starting to fall in love with the waitress, and Homer and Marge's relationship on rocky ground. It's like,
That's
man,
fair.
like,
I could tell you what happens 2 episodes later. I have it right here. Do you want to know?
am I right? Is it a rocky relationship episode? Okay,
It's sort of actually. So what it is basically, Homer accidentally leaves Santa's little helper locked in his car with literally with the window down a little bit just to give him some air. But Santa's little helper accidentally closes the window all the way, and it's summertime, and then people think Homer's a bad dog parent. Essentially, it's a whole thing.
Well, I hadn't thought. I guess the Simpsons car has to have move forward and have electronic windows and locks at this point and stuff.
Yep.
Huh. All right. Well, anything else you want to say about what was it? Pixelated
And Afraid. Just please, ignore that inclination and just watch it. It is, even just watch this episode alone, and don't watch the rest of the season. That's it's really good. It's super good. This is also a season which has 2 10s out of 10s and 2 1s out of 10s. So yeah, which sucks. But also there are some other good bangers in this season. Just an FYI. But Pixelated and Afraid is definitely one of the biggest ones.
All right. Well, speaking of what are clearly bangers, the episode I want to talk about.
Yep.
Episode 9. Mothers and Other Strangers.
Okay. Interesting one.
The only reason I really want to talk about this is that based on the description I'm reading, it seems to be a flashback episode for Homer when he was a teenager.
Yeah. Did you pick this one knowing? Go on.
No, I picked it because seeing it's a flashback episode, I'm curious about Homer as a teenager. What year do they try and set this in?
2000.
Okay,
yeah.
So we've actually done a thing where we finally reached that point, because just doing some sort of, loose math, let's call it, this season takes place in 2021. Mm-hmm. If we assume Homer is roughly 45, he's theoretically born 1976. Mm-hmm. So if he's a teenager, at the very least, he would have to be early 90s at the lowest end to, potentially late 90s, 2000s. So it's interesting that we finally hit that point that, hey, 33 seasons in, when they're doing these flashbacks, they have to go, this has to take place in the 90s or 2000s, and how weird that is and different it makes things for these characters.
There were 20 other episodes you could have picked, and you have somehow finally done it. You've finally done this. So far you've been really good at picking middle of the road episodes, or higher or lower ones between 4 and 7, let's say. Hassan, you finally picked the other 1 out of 10.
And to be clear,
this
I'm
fucking
actually
sucks.
not interested in the actual content, the story, the quality. It's literally, I just wanted to know, have we finally hit the point that these flashbacks have had to?
Yeah, they have. They've had
move
to
forward
do this,
because I watched one of the things about The Simpsons was when it initially started, Homer was only supposed to be mid-30s, and then over time they bumped his age up. So even by the time I sort of stopped watching, it mostly stayed stagnant. It was sort of Homer was born somewheres around kind of late 40s, early 50s, was a teen in sort of the 70s flower power era, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting that they finally have kind of had their hand forced, and they have to go, okay, no, actually, hey,
and they'll do
time
it,
has moved forward.
And they'll do it again 10 seasons later when they have to do the fucking Mona episode again. So, I don't know how you... Okay. I don't like the majority of Abe Simpson or Mona Simpson episodes. I think the Mona Simpson thing was great for, like, an episode, but they have, like, dug that hole deep. And they have not filled it. And they keep digging down. And basically, like, every time they do a Mona Simpson episode, they fuck up the timeline even more. This is like the worst one, the most egregious one, I should say. And like, this episode, okay, addressing the timeline thing is great. They now like, okay, well now he was like a teenager in like the 2000s, sure, whatever. Previously, he was a teenager in the 90s. Now he's in the 80s. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever, who cares? But now, according to this, Homer... The most damning thing is that Homer knew his mother was alive when he was 16, instead of always thinking she was dead until he was 36. Like, he knew she was alive when he was a teenager. Somehow.
Oh.
Yeah, and they also then say that she was there during Bart's, like, the first night Bart was born. This is an infuriating episode.
I don't understand why they would do stuff. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say,
so many choices.
Simpsons lore is sacred and they shouldn't be trying to retcon it.
No, fuck that.
But
yeah, I agree with that, but still.
There are just certain tentpole things that seem like, hey, you shouldn't just try and undo these things. That's lame.
Yeah, the Mona Simpson thing is a pretty big tentpole. I agree. And again, you had a chance to do the Star of the Backstage, which is an excellent episode. You could have gone all the way to the very, very end and talk about Poorhouse Rock. You should have talked about Poorhouse Rock is fucking
it's too late.
awesome.
We can't.
But still.
No, can't. We gotta move on to season 34, which you gave a 5.75.
No, I did not. Season 34? Man.
Yeah.
34, geez, 5.75. You're thinking crazy talk. Season 34. Son. Season 34 gets a whopping 7.27.
Yeah, you're crazy, but okay.
We're back, baby.
Let's, in that case, hear about the best episode.
All right, the best episode. So, gonna just change my notes here. You fucking, I had this lined up.
Well, we want to end on the good note, so we have to.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
Start.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. Season 34, just FYI, has 10 out of 10s and not a single 1 out of 10. You're safe here. Okay. This is a good territory. And I gotta say, this is, for pound, the 10 out of 10s, it's a hard fight. Because, like, there are just some really good ones here. But I chose ultimately what is essentially the gimmick episode, because I already talked about the other 10 out of 10. One of the 10 out of 10s, which was the Trees of Horrors 33, which that episode we discussed last year.
Okay.
Now, that's one of the Pookadook and like the anime Death Note episode. Yeah, really fucking good. Solid shit. But I chose instead, we were discussing Season 34, Episode 3, Lisa the Boy Scout.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, this episode. Oh. So, Hassan, okay. This episode, in some ways, is a clip show.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what's really fun? The vignettes of Springfield episodes. The ones are like, oh, here's like 7 just fun stories about like just dumb shit happening in Springfield. Not like The Simpsons tell 3 stories. This is, let's see what Hans Moleman's up to for like 10 seconds. Let's see what Willie's up to. What's going on with Chalmers? What's he doing right now? This episode is what's referred to as the hacked episode. So the plot of this is that as the episode begins, it's a typical Bart-Lisa rivalry episode in which Lisa wants to become a Boy Scout and Bart doesn't like that.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah. And then it stops immediately there, like a minute into the episode. No, we're not getting that plot. Fuck that. We're done with that shit. What we are getting is 2 hackers from a group called Synonymous who wear masks and have like pro-corded voices. They're going to sit there and give us all the wretched garbage that Fox and the Simpsons producers tossed away that they still have on file because that's fun.
Now, is it actually stuff that was cut? Because that would make it fun, whereas if it wasn't...
Some of it is, according to
Okay,
the writers.
right.
But they decided to roll with it anyway because it's just funny. Because in this episode it works. But you couldn't do this as like a real episode for some of these. But, you know, whatever. So I'm just going to kind of roll through it. So the first one is Lenny isn't real. Lenny is a figment of Carl's imagination. Period. End of story. Yeah.
That doesn't really work, so I can see why you cut it. But it's fun in a clip show. I'll give you that.
But I'm not sure if that one's cut or if that one's made for this episode.
Oh.
I don't know. That's the thing.
I would hope they just made up for this episode. That'd be stupid if they didn't.
Yeah. Let's see. Bart uses the power of the show's predictions to time travel and give everyone updates so they can be prophets. You know, their Simpsons has predicted stuff in the future. Yeah, this is Bart time traveling as a teen back in the past.
Too self-referential.
To episode 1. Yeah, that's sure. There's also a great Perfect Storm short where the sea captain and Gretzky Willie are battling the storm, but they only say "yar" or "I."
That sounds fun. They should have. That was cut. They should have cut that. What's wrong with them?
Yeah. The thing is, by the way, they don't say which ones were actually cut episodes. They'll never tell us. Next one is Barton is an undercover cop in Springfield Elementary. He's a wife and kids. He's a 36-year-old man.
Here's my problem. Cops aren't that good at acting.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it's like a cop show. You know. And then just as like a interval, the hackers start falling in love with each other. They don't know each other until now, but they're like in the same room. It's a whole thing. Next vignette is Lisa can only speak in French. And is trying to call in a burning down building, but has to do so in French.
That's definitely just made for this episode. That's too stupid.
Next one is Homer builds a Field of Dreams field, but for football, but actually builds a CFL field.
All right, that's pretty good.
That's pretty fucking
funny.
I like that. Professor Frink is on Mars. It's basically The Martian, but Professor Frink. Which I think that one's probably a real cut one. I feel.
Oh yeah, that feels like a real one.
Yeah. Next one is Homer's apology to Finland.
What did he?
He mistaked Finland for Norway at one point. Apparently in an episode, he didn't actually.
Okay,
but
all right.
It's like a phone apology. He's like, "I'm very, 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 very sorry." Skinner has secrets. Skinner has a secret other mother, which turns out to be his own actual mother, but like a weird prostitution kind of way.
Not into it.
It's super weird. Mm-hmm. Homer steals Ned's mustache. Comic book guy
sounds fun.
Yeah, comic book guy is positive.
Yeah.
The background guy, the guy who's like, "Hey there, buddy. What's going on, champ?" That guy. He's actually like the secret eldritch horror who lives underneath Springfield and is like birthing like small versions of himself in like a worm body.
I believe that. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's good. That one's good shit. Then there's just a couple showcase of clever episode titles that didn't make it, which I'm not going to go through those because like that's whatever. Those ones seem a lot more plausible. Next one is Eddie is Ralph's father. Like Eddie the cop. Which look at the boat. Look at the two of them. They look the exact same.
Yeah.
My son's breath smells like cat food. Lisa is secretly not vegetarian.
No. Doesn't work.
Yeah. Let's see. And then we get into the running gag of what? Oh yeah. No, the running gag begins with the Ralph is not Wiggum's son, with the lies stop now running gag. This one plays throughout the rest of these for the most part, where a lead character will say the lies stop now, and they have to throw a glass against a wall or whatever. And it's a dramatic shtick kind of thing. It's meant to be. It's kind of like a weird improv exercise.
Okay.
Yeah, so that starts with the Ralph Wiggum one, and then it goes on to Kirk and Luann are not Millhouse's parents, and then it's Selma is Marge's mother, and then it's Willie is actually Welsh, and so on and so forth. There's a few of these, and then it's this hard cuts to Homer eating a donair kebab, like a whole kebab, in the shower, in like a sexual way. And then they just do rapid fire clips, just rapid fire, like one shot, like here's like 2 seconds of craziness. And they do something interesting though. They do something very interesting here. This is why it's still technically a clip show. They start, because here's the idea is this is the horrible bullshit that Fox and Disney do not want you to see. And they start just sort of like kind of interspersing these like made up clips that they have done for this episode with real clips of the show. Like they start sneaking in, like, hey, here's the episode here's the one an image from season 11 with the jockeys when Homer and Bart were like doing horse racing, and here's a clip of Homer cooking himself from that one Trees of Horrors, and here's one of it's Marge, it's Homer with the makeup shotgun kind of thing, and all this stuff. It just gives you like some just kind of strange clips of the Simpsons kind of interspersed in with these fake ones that sort of make you not realize which is what. And I find that fascinating, because what this episode essentially says about itself, about the whole entirety of The Simpsons, is that at any point, any of these horrible ideas could have become episodes. And not bad episodes, but probably pretty good ones that you have fond memories of. But at any point, any of these ideas could have just turned on. And I find that interesting.
That sounds great. So let's hear about the worst episode.
Also, the way this ends is that Homer wakes up from a coma after he jumps Springfield Gorge. Like, but I've had 700 adventures. Yeah, they're all fake. Anyway, the worst episode is... Oh, man. I don't know if we're ready for this one. Anyway, it's not bad. Again, nothing is 1 out of 10 in this season. But this is season 34, episode 16, Hostile Kirk Place, with a 5 out of 10.
About Kirk Van Houten, huh?
You got it.
That checks out.
Mm-hmm. So, Kirk Van Houten Kirk takes exception to a school history lesson is the official synopsis of the episode. What this actually is that there is a well-known Springfield historical fact that Mayor Van Houten, from like 3 generations ago, he allowed the erection of this large gazebo that would act as a gathering place for lovers of all kinds to come and pitch woo to each other. Pitching would be serenading with a ukulele kind of
having
thing.
sex.
I mean, in the 1910s kind of way of like you serenade your love, and that's supposed to be kind of erotic in some sense. It probably still is, but I never tried it. Not much of a singer. Anyway, this causes, because there's so many people doing this at the exact same time, it causes the gazebo to collapse and kill or maim many of those people in Springfield. Now, this unfortunately makes the Van Houtens out to be a bunch of losers.
Which they are.
Which they are. Kirk takes exception to that. Now, this is an episode about bipartisanship. Because what Kirk is protesting against is critical brace theory.
Okay, so moving on.
Yeah.
The episode I want to talk about. Is there anything else you want to say about that other than
not a ton?
Yeah, no, well, the Simpsons tackling that sounds awful.
Kirk goes full fascist at the very end. Like he becomes the mayor of Springfield and becomes a massive fascist. So
Kirk absolutely would.
Yep.
Hit that side.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
That seriously, the episode I want to talk about is maybe this is better than I think it is, but the Wikipedia summary makes this sound insane, which is episode 20, The Very Hungry Caterpillars, because the episode summary is Springfield is in lockdown mode when a caterpillar infestation hits the town, when Maggie only wants to eat food with ranch dressing.
Yep.
Flanders refuses to give any to Homer after he insults him.
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yeah. They're okay, to be fair. What this is, obviously, I think if you can, based on some of that, what this is a pandemic episode where they want to kind of like, they want to tackle COVID, but they don't want to like just be like, this is about COVID. So they make up this like crazy red caterpillar thing, which makes us kind of into a weird, like, almost like zombie horror film. It's a little fucked up.
Okay.
But the idea is that Flanders has a bunch of ranch dressing in his fallout bunker, in his basement. And not just ranch dressing, but all these different things. But a big tub of ranch dressing is one of them. And Maggie is going through one of these like baby phases where she'll only eat things with ranch dressing. And so they don't know how long they're going to be in this situation with the caterpillars. And they've run out of ranch dressing, and they have to feed their baby. And your neighbor has ranch dressing, and Homer accidentally insults the neighbor. So what do?
It's just ranch dressing. It's literally just mayonnaise, buttermilk, and some other. I personally, I think ranch is disgusting because of that. It's like I don't want mayonnaise on my salad. That's way too thick. Get out of here. What's wrong with you people?
I mean, you thin it out with the buttermilk. That's why I use the buttermilk.
Yeah, not enough. I mean, I'm sure you could make a good version, but hey, store-bought stuff, it's too thick. It's not right.
Clearly you haven't tried Hidden Valley? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you like ranch dressing or not. The point of the idea is it does. I guess in this case you're right, because Maggie loves it.
That's entirely how I base my life and determine who I allow into it and not.
Well, I like ranch dressing, so like.
All right, well, podcast over. Never doing this again.
I guess so. Well,
Didn't realize I was with a monster.
It's a fucking way
look, I get what they're going for, but
yeah,
this is a just bad, version of trying to tell this of caterpillars and ranch dressing. What?
To be fair, that's just one small part of the episode. I guess that's more the A plot.
Sure, it's just the Simpsons has tackled real world moments.
Yeah.
More seriously than this, more believably. Yeah.
I think it's because this is season 34. The pandemic was still basically a thing. It still kind of is at this point. We're getting past it, but like when this season came out, people were still like freaked out about COVID and shit. And it's still a thing. It still definitely is a thing. But like, this was trying to tackle that in a very sensitive way. So I see why they did it this way. I agree with you. It's pretty toothless because they used to just jump right into it. Go like, this is a pandemic episode. We don't, we're not going to pull any punches. With that said, though, they would tend to pull punches if there was a chance to offend people because they'd want to play both sides. All of the like Elon Musk episode, or even with like the Kirk Van Houten episode we just talked about. That one they go very bipartisan there, with like both sides are okay. Don't worry about it, kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, there's more to this episode than just that, but I get where you're coming from. Like, it's not the best. It gets a 6 out of 10 for me.
It's the sort of thing where, okay, you could so easily fix those problems early into that writing process.
Yeah,
right?
you could.
Somebody
yes.
comes, here's the idea. It's like, yeah, can we come up with something better than caterpillars and ranch dressing? Like, you don't have to rewrite the entire episode and what we're getting at and you can still have it be Ned has whatever item, but
yeah,
surely we could do better than ranch dressing.
I mean, yes, I'm sure they could. I think the execution of specifically the A plot is pretty good. It's the B and C plots that don't really work for me. The B plot is that like Lisa goes crazy playing with her dolls, and she starts thinking that they are taking over her life, literally. And the other one is that Bart, for the C plot, helps Skinner get his blankie back from his mother through the power of online learning.
Yeah, you can't learn anything online. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's a whatever episode. Again, I think if they had just kept it as like, let's do what if we did the pandemic, but kept it as like the red caterpillar thing. Even if they kept the ranch dressing thing, that'd be one little quirky thing about the episode. But they wanted to equate it as like a zombie apocalypse is part like, yeah, that's kind of how everything felt. It really did feel like kind of like 28 days later at that point. We're all kind of hunkered down, I get what they're going for, but I mostly agree with you because like they could have done something else with it.
Yeah, it's just this like, I don't know. It feels as if somebody there thinks, oh no, The Simpsons is about weird, goofy, wacky scenarios. It's like, well,
which it kind of is, but not
it
quite.
is, but also it doesn't always have to be.
No,
there's no reason why we couldn't be serious. Anyways, moving on to our final season, season 35, which get
ooh, what do you think you got? He gets
4.94.
4.94?
Yeah.
No. That's too low.
Oh.
It gets a solid 6.72.
That's too high.
6.72. How do you know it's too high? You haven't watched it yet.
Psychic.
Okay.
Like
That's fair.
It's okay. You remember that? I forgot what they were doing, but there's the episode where Bart's in the courtroom and Skinner is all, Bart, I know you can read my mind. It's like that.
Okay, fair enough. Well, just to end this in the high note, Son, what is the episode you want to talk about for the season?
Ooh, okay.
Maybe he'll be the one I want to talk about.
Okay. The
Flip this
episode
shit.
I want to talk about because it just feels weird to me. Episode 4, Thirst Trap: Corporate Love Story.
Oh no, he chose this one.
Yeah, and so
Ew.
basically this is
Spooky.
Theros? Was that the name of that company?
Yeah. Theranos. Theranos.
That's what it was. Basically, from what I'm reading, the premise of this episode is just Persephone O'Dare, who is the sort of, oh God, I can't think what you call them now, but, the Forbes 30 under 30, darling entrepreneurs, has a company called Lifeboat. And that Mr. Burns falls in love with her and is trying to hide and cover up her sort of
misdealings.
Illegal activities, lying about. So Lifeboat is according to Wikipedia, they have devices that desalinate ocean water and make it drinkable.
Yep.
My main problems with this are just that doesn't sound like Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns,
No.
We've repeatedly seen when it comes to romance, he doesn't care about the sort of status of the other person or them being sort of an evil entrepreneur. Those aren't the things that make him care.
Yeah.
And also the idea of him sort of trying to do these things to cover up the misdeeds. It's this is Mr. Burns.
He doesn't give a shit.
He's not...
No.
he's not bragging about, at least publicly, the sort of, evil things he's doing. But he also doesn't work that, yes, the power plant's owned by C. Montgomery Burns. Canary, he's never been, I need to be loved by the public and manipulate them in that way. It just seems...
Yeah.
out of sync with the history of him.
Yeah.
Also, really a Theranos parody.
I mean, especially in season 35, the Theranos thing had been over by the point that season 35 aired, very much over. So I'm not sure why they're going for Theranos now. Well, last year, I guess, because that's when it would have aired. I don't know. Yeah, it's
for some reason.
Great. It's shot pretty nice. It's shot like a documentary.
The guest stars of this episode really weird. Okay,
read them all out.
So I can understand why you would have, say, some of the journalists. So Christiane Amanpour, Andrew Ross Sorkin,
Yep.
Kara Swisher. Those all make sense.
Yes.
But then you have Peter Coyote, who is a screenwriter. You have Peter Jackson. I think everyone knows that. I think Ken Burns, which apparently Ken Burns isn't dead. Who knew?
Yeah, he's alive. Yeah, I mean, Thirst Trap is not a good episode. It's again, the most interesting thing I have for it is that it's shot kind of nice. It's shot like a documentary, which I think is a fun way to do this.
I assume they use the Ken Burns effect.
Yes, of course they fucking do.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that one. Yeah. Ain't the worst, ain't the best. Right in the middle. So, like I said, it was not in the middle, but it's 3 out of 10. So hey,
that's definitely not the middle, Tristan.
No.
That's definitely bad.
It's more the middle than the.
Speaking of bad, let's hear the worst episode.
Oh god, okay. The final worst episode of this whole experiment is
until we reboot everything.
Stop saying it. Stop saying it. I don't fucking say it anymore. Season 35, episode 3, McMansion and Wife. Whopping 1 out of 10. Yeah.
Oh, what the? Why did that tab? Sorry. I see what I did.
Should lose something.
I clicked on Ken Burns' name and it confused me. Episode 3, McMansion and
fact.
Wife. I have no idea what that's supposed to be a reference to.
Macmillan and Wife.
Was Macmillan and Wife?
It's an old drama. It's a whole... Don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah. So, the Simpsons get new neighbors. And the new neighbors kind of wine and dine the Simpsons into essentially agreeing to letting them renovate their home, like not the Simpsons' home, but their own home, into a McMansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Believable.
Very believable. That's it. That's the whole fucking thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Not working with much, huh?
No, not at all.
It's a shame because this apparently features Dick Van Dyke.
Yep. Did.
Which I did know he was alive, but I thought he had completely
Gone away from
retired.
Yeah.
Stop.
He didn't. He's always been. He's still doing his shit. But yeah, no. This episode basically, so like the husband of the couple that moves into next to the Simpsons, he is a Lamborghini dealer, a Lamborghini, just to copyright reasons. You can't just say Lamborghini, I guess. And he basically wines and dines Homer that way by getting him, like, hey, here's a rental Lamborghini. You can drive this around and be cool. He's like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. Hey, by the way, maybe you want to just agree to these renovations, please. Yeah, okay, cool. And then Marge, same with like the wife, she kind of like takes Marge to spas and that sort of stuff, and the whole thing. Yeah, it's an episode where by the end of it, nothing gets resolved. It just sort of ends. This is the most damning thing I can say about this episode. It is reminiscent of season 26, aka the worst season of The Simpsons of all time. Can't
wait for you to get there again.
Not happening. Not happening, sir.
Definitely
no,
happening.
Not happening at all.
Legally binding? Well, let's hear about the best
It is
episode.
not legally binding. The best episode. Finally. That's going to be season 35. The last episode, episode 18.
Oh, it's a short season.
Bart's Brain. Yeah, it's a writer's strike happened.
Oh, right. Yes, makes sense. Yeah. Anyways, go on.
Bart's Brain, 10 out of 10. Now, this one's a very interesting episode because Bart buys a brain in a jar because he trades in Abe Simpson's war memorabilia to Herman to buy this brain in a jar. And he uses it for a prank, and then as his punishment, his teacher, Mrs. Peyton, makes him take care of it like it's a take-home baby experiment, like baby doll egg situation, And Bart then bonds with it, and he calls it Buddy the Brain, and then it's an episode that's kind of about him becoming a social pariah because he becomes known as the Brain Boy because he walks around with this gross brain in a jar. And nobody likes him.
I'm not saying kids should be bullied, but
yeah,
I would probably join in ostracizing and how old's Bart? 11, 12, something
10.
like that.
He's 10.
10. If a 10-year-old kid was just walking around my neighborhood with a human brain in a jar, calling it their best friend,
sure,
I would not talk to that child and actively cross the street to avoid them. Well, I can't blame the people of Springfield in this case.
Yeah, well, this is an episode where you that gives you the message that where you probably shouldn't do that because maybe this kid's just going through some shit.
No, it's a kid with the brain in the jar. It needs to start with their parents first, not me. Once their parents maybe take care of that initial stage, then maybe I'll, talk to the kid. But I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not taking that first plunge.
No, honestly I don't necessarily blame you, and neither would the rest of Springfield, because so what happens is, to kind of get away from Bart for a little bit, the family goes to church on Sunday, like very purposely, like gets up and goes and tries to leave him there. And like, hey, you just stay home, Bart. Like he gets up and like sees them leaving. Like, you just stay home with Buddy. Put on some cartoons. Make some Red Bull waffles, and just yeah. He eats waffles with Red Bull on it. It's a whole, Yeah, I know. Anyway, eat that, and then just relax and have a good Sunday to yourself. We'll be in church. So they go to church, and then lo and behold, Bart shows up, and he makes this big aggrandizing speech in front of the whole church, the whole congregation, about how he should not be ostracized because he's just kind of going through some stuff, and like this brain represents him just kind of finding a bit of a niche for himself, and then he realizes he doesn't want to be the brain boy anymore, though, because he realizes the brain belonged to somebody named Corbin Ellison, I think it is. So it has an actual name already, so it's not necessarily his brain in a jar. It's not his anyway, but he doesn't have ownership over it. It was belonging to somebody else before. Obviously, it would have, because it's a fucking human brain in a jar. And then once realizing that, they kind of just hand wave it and go, like, it's just a phase, don't worry about it. And then it ends like as if it is Fast and the Furious 7. Do you remember how Fast and the Furious 7 ends, Hassan?
Okay, just give me, because I need to work things back here. So, okay, the fourth film is the one that gets in, like, Mexico with the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
5 is in Brazil.
Yeah.
So 6 is the airplane one.
Yep.
Which means
7 is...
7's the one in London, then? With
the guy
from the raid?
Yep, it is. But do you remember how
So I think that's the one where it ends where they all get pardoned?
Sort of. It is, but there's a very specific thing that happened around the filming of Fast and Furious 7. A very big deal around that movie. Do you remember what that was?
I do. Nope.
Paul Walker died.
Oh, yes, that's the one where he died. Right.
So you recall how that actually ends? Where, like, this the parting roads?
They drive off. I was thinking that was 6. That's why my brain was...
6?
That's right. No, you're right. It is 7.
Yeah.
It is 7. For some reason, my brain has 6, but you're right, it's 7.
So anyway, that's how this episode ends, where they do the full Fast and Furious 7 ending, where they part ways. The same song.
And the brain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
little,
right.
Yeah.
So
now I gotta point out, everything I described to you, does that make a 10 out of 10 episode?
I don't know about 10 out of 10. I could see it being a good episode, but...
Well, let me tell you right now, son, it's not.
Oh, okay, great.
This is maybe more like a 5 or a 6. Let's be perfectly fucking honest. You know what? This gets a 10 out of 10. Huge X Factor. This is it. I'm fucking done.
Oh, okay.
10 out of 10 for freedom. Fucking freedom.
Well,
done.
Initial freedom. Till the contract had to be changed. And, have to start over.
We're not gonna start over. It's fine. I'll just put someone else in my place. You can do it instead. You can take over the Great Simpsons Rewatch if you want to.
Nah, I'm good.
Well, I think you should. I
got a lot of other shows for us to talk about. Don't worry.
You got to do all One Piece.
I literally have done all One Piece.
That's true. Yeah. Like actually, all of it. Have we gotten there?
I
think I like most
we've
way
never
through.
done like breakdown per thing, but yeah.
Well, now we gotta start his song.
Tristan,
I need
One
your
Piece is...
Yeah, I don't care.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so is The Simpsons. It's not, I mean, One Piece is more of Simpsons for sure. I understand that, but The Simpsons is still 700 fucking episodes.
Nah, I'm good. Any last things you want to say about The Simpsons before we do wrap up?
Nobody should do what I did.
Checks out.
Checks out. I mean, obviously, I do these things because I'm kind of a crazy person because I like doing this stuff essentially, even if it's torturous. This is something that nobody should do, is watch every little thing of a long running show like The Simpsons and analyze it. Don't do that. Instead, what you should do is maybe use my recommendations for like the best episodes or the worst episodes. You want to watch some like really bad stuff. And B, watch your favorites. Go into it and enjoy the ones that you think are really good. And if you read somewhere that, hey, this episode's really good, or if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, if I'm saying Pixelated and Afraid is the best episode of all time, take heed of that and maybe give it a shot. Like, I know, I get it.
I think we all know what you're saying. You're hinting that people should go and watch one of your favorite episodes, possibly your favorite ever, the one featuring Ricky Gervais. Yeah, right. Yeah, love my episode. Yeah, I know it's your favorite. We could just cut to chase. I'll just take my award now. That's I'm just that good.
Your
I know.
Ricky Gervais is just too good. It's not gonna say. I hate it so much. Every time I just want to hit you. Fuck! It's really good. I hate you. Man! No, actually, that is not my least favorite episode. It's still the Marge versus childless couples, teens, gays, and Marge versus childless couples, singles, teens, and gays. I think that's what the title episode is. That's like the really heinous, like, we hate kids kind of episode. It's weird and just kind of mean, basically. Yeah, that's the one I would say is the worst one so far. I haven't actually done the experiment still goes. I gotta say, I'm sitting here acting as if this is all done, as if I am actually free of this. I'm not, listener. Just so you know. I still have to watch and review the worst of the worst and the best of the best. So, and let me just tell you. So, just so we can put some guesses out there, let's keep going with this train a little bit. How many best of the best episodes do you think are out there, Hassan?
What? Like how? Because when you say best of the best,
anything that's 10 out of 10, or like 9 out of 10 so hard it's almost a 10 out of 10.
$18.
Too low. Double that. 31.
Rip. Oh, okay. All right.
Now, in contrast, how many the worst episodes do you think there are?
Oh, I mean, it surely must be higher. So 50?
No. 36.
Oh, tied.
Yeah, tied.
Okay.
So, just with that knowledge, this is kind of my closing statement with this. The Simpsons in general, as a show, it's okay. It's okay. You can take this show and you can essentially do what I did, review every single little bit of it, take notes, make a podcast about it if you want to. I don't recommend that. Take notes of it and review it and pick it apart and do all those things. And essentially what you will find, mathematically speaking, The Simpsons has always been pretty much even keel. In fact, when I break down the numbers, what I get for, like, if I tally all my scores up, it pretty much comes down to a 5.6.
Yeah,
and this is regarded as one of the greatest shows of all time. This is mathematics, of course,
but you know, I think that's the problem with something going so long. Is no
Exactly.
matter what, just eventually
exactly
gonna get dragged down.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this has gone on for so long that, like, you have this show that has been going on for 700 plus episodes, and eventually what that means is you're going to just kind of bog out and go to the middle. That's just it. It's not going to dip so far down it's never going to recover. It's The Simpsons. It's not going to spike so far up that, like, it's the best thing in the world. It's The Simpsons. The Simpsons has always been middle of the road. Now, of course, it has those spikes, those peaks and valleys of extreme goodness and extreme badness. But when you really combine it all, the episodes that you remember, your favorites and your least favorites that occupy your mind of The Simpsons, those don't matter because those make up such a small fraction of the episodes of The Simpsons. We're talking 67 episodes are best and worst in total. Out of 700 plus of just pure middle. The Simpsons has never been great. It's always just been good. You know. Middle of the road. Good enough. But that doesn't mean it hasn't been one of the greatest shows of all time. Because, I mean, it's been going on for so long for a reason, right?
Yeah, Simpsons sucks. That's the lesson we've learned from this.
Okay, yeah, good point.
What this has all been linked to, right?
Yeah, The Simpsons is actually terrible. Sorry, everybody. Just FYI. Yeah, it's like when you watch your favorite soap opera for so long and you realize, like, hold on, I've lost the plot of this a long time ago. Yeah, no, The Simpsons has always been good. And, I mean, like, you can take even the reviews of The Simpsons from years ago and now, actually, and the reviews they speak the exact same language as each other. Hey, this episode was terrible. I miss when season 3 did this. This episode was terrible. Season 6 was the greatest season of all time. I fucking love season 22. It's the greatest season of all time. Blah, 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 blah. That Lady Gaga episode is really good. I thought it was hilarious. There is, I've managed to find a couple of journalists that I'm not going to name because it's whatever. But if you look for, like, Simpsons reviews, you will find them. That tend to favorably review most episodes of The Simpsons. And, like, they've done a similar thing as I've done, and they've gone through most of this stuff and reviewed them and given each one a score. And for the most part, every episode hits between, like, a 5 and an 8. And it's like, yeah. And it's like a handful of reviewers, maybe like 3 or 4. And so, critically speaking, these people are paid to be critical about this show. And they still can't find it in them to find truly terrible episodes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They're paid shills. Can't trust the media.
To be
the
fair,
lying media.
To be fair, I never looked into where the money came from, so fair enough. They could be, but I don't think they are.
Almost certainly not. That's
Probably
illegal.
not. Yeah, it's, paid reviews are a thing, so it's not illegal.
Well, you can't. Wait,
you do have to post that it's
remember.
sponsored by the thing. So. Unless you're a scientific review, then you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I forget how it works, but
yeah. Point is, Simpsons has always been pretty good. The Simpsons is good again? No, it's always been good. There are, like I said, peaks and valleys, but for the most part, it's always been good. Period. Middle of the road. That's it. That's the lesson I've learned. It's kind of a sad lesson, to be honest. But I guess the real lesson is, like I said, like the ones that really stand out to you. Those are the ones that's what The Simpsons means to you. Like, choose your favorite episode and just, like, remember that one. And just keep that as, like, your special little Simpsons thing. But then I do implore you to go and find the good ones and the worst ones and watch those too, because there's some fascinating stuff out there. We didn't even touch on some of the more like the crazy episodes, like the really experimental stuff in seasons like 33 and 34. Like we touched on one, but like 33 has like a serious Flanders, a whole Fargo parody, a 2-part parody that about Ned Flanders trying to figure out what morality actually means versus an assassin. Like, it's a whole... It's awesome.
I think the actual number one lesson that I've ever learned from The Simpsons is that inflammable means flammable, and I'm not even joking. That's how I learned that.
What a country.
Exactly. Anyways, we should wrap up, so why don't you tell people where to find us?
All right. Here's go to our Blue Sky account. Fuck yeah, we're on Blue Sky, everybody. Look at that. Which is at EIFNAR. I'm pretty sure I kept the exact same. I think it's 8th Year Podcast, maybe. I can't remember. Just type in EIFNAR. You'll probably get us. We're the only one on Blue Sky with that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, shouldn't be hard to find.
No, Blue Sky, for all the users that are on there, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty niche, small crowd currently. Not like billions or anything. Yeah, we're on there. Go there. Tell us about how much you love The Simpsons. Or don't. Or whatever. Tell us how much you think my opinion sucks of The Simpsons, and that season 17 was the best season of all time.
Definitely not, but okay.
No, that one was whatever. I'm curious. What did I give that one? 4.9. Anyway. Anyway, you should go to our other stuff. Go to our Spotify, iTunes for the podcast stuff, and listen to us, and follow and leave reviews and shit. And go to our YouTube and like and subscribe. Click the buttons until your phone and or computer melts down entirely. If you're using your PC to watch this on YouTube, and if you don't click buttons until you hear your graphics card essentially catch fire, you're doing it wrong.
Assuming you have a graphics card, I mean, laptop.
No, you might not. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, most laptops have like a very small graphics card in them. It's a thing. Not all of them do, of course, but most of them these days. Well, if your graphics processor, which could just be your processor, doesn't catch fire from you clicking like and subscribe rapidly, you're doing it wrong. Anyway, you should also go to our friends of DJDane.com. This guy does music, DJDane.com. Go there, listen to his great music, and I'd say you grab him and you help him on his own Simpsons journey and watching all of it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone else has to suffer.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one.
Yeah, on your own. I'm not doing it, so Andy will have to do it. Yeah, problem solved.
You're gonna do it as well, son.
Nah.
You're gonna watch The Simpsons. You're gonna like it.
Nah.
Yeah. Or not. I mean, it's again the whole thing.
Yeah, I choose not.
Okay. Anyway, that's it for the show. Tune in next time for another Exodie episode of Everything is Fine is Ruined. See ya.
See ya.
Also, shh.
Say it.